All right, let's do this. The last lesson of February. No, we come back and the last. I was going to say February 2022, but I think we come back. We have a few days left of February, so that's not true. But the last actual lesson before February vacation. How about that? And we'll start a movie after this. I haven't checked my email yet, but as of last night, I don't think anybody emailed me with a good movie. I was thinking like Black Widow, but I need to check the parents' guide. I watched it in the theaters. It's not that bad. It's pretty exciting, but we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Watch something good, hopefully, to end this week in this crazy year. Hopefully, the masks will come off soon. I don't know. We'll see. I hope they do. All right. This is the second time I'm recording this. You'll notice some of my highlights are here. Just like for whatever reason, I forgot to show the article. I was just showing my face while I read. So re-recording it. And then another time I couldn't get my camera to work. So I had to, you don't care about this, right? Let's move on. We're talking about Tulsa. Yesterday we finished Crash. So if you weren't here yesterday, there were quite a few students who weren't, and you want to know what happens at the end, please watch it. It's like a half an hour, but I think it's good stuff. The ending, I think most people were like, it's lacking a little bit. So maybe we will read Bang after we read Gingerbread Girl, okay, by Stephen King. Let's do this one, though. Let's do this. So we ended right here. All the highlights are there because I've already read this, most of it. All right, we got some quotes there. Somebody wrote this. I don't know if it's O.W. Gurley or whatever, but somebody said this, I should say. Built for Black people by Black people. And you can imagine in 1921, if you were living in the world where most, if not all, of the businesses and all that stuff were owned by white people, and you were Black, it was like, I don't actually have any equality here, using different bathrooms. But if we've used this term already, self-contained, if you didn't have to leave the neighborhood for anything, and it was just people around you that looked like you, you could use the best bathroom in town, I'm sure, right? With no hassle. So Greenwood was becoming like a little, very prosperous, lots of money being made, part of Tulsa, Oklahoma. O.W. Gurley is credited for having the first Black business in Greenwood, 1906. He wanted to create something for Black people by Black people. He started with a boarding house. And a boarding house, it's kind of like a hotel. It's kind of like a hotel. But people will probably stay there for a little longer. For Black Americans, then word began to spread about opportunities for Black people in Greenwood, and they rushed to the district. So you can imagine probably not too many opportunities in the rest of Tulsa. This little space, like, hey, maybe there's something here. You got a lot more people coming in, a lot more people starting businesses, keeps growing. O.W. Gurley, second paragraph there, would loan money to people who wanted to start a business. It says Christy Williams. I've never heard of Christy Williams, but luckily right there in the yellow, just if you keep reading, they'll probably give you that information. Well, she is the vice chair of the African American Affairs Commission in Tulsa. Other Black entrepreneurs, love that word. It's French. Maybe we should pause right here. Does anybody know French? No. Does anybody know that word? Entrepreneur. I think that's the more French way to say it, but in English, we say entrepreneur. Anybody know what that is? I'll pause. All right. This is just like another way to say somebody who started a business, probably still owns it now. Entrepreneur. Something like that. All right. Followed suit. Another guy, J.B. Stratford. It seemed like people liked using their first initial and their middle initial with their last name. Maybe I should change my name to B.A. Watson. Yeah, that would be my name if I lived in 1921, maybe. Sounds like I could be an entrepreneur. Sounds like I have authority. B.A. Watson said. but I won't tell you what the A means. It's an embarrassing middle name. No, it's not that bad. I just never go by the A. All right. We should probably keep reading here. So J.B. Stratford, he was born enslaved in Kentucky, later became a lawyer, an activist, moved to Greenwood in 1898. Now talk about the American dream right there. With a little hard work, anything is possible. This guy, J.B. Stratford, it's a D, not a T. J.B. Stratford was born enslaved. Talk about like no opportunities there. Well, 1865, slavery ends, and this guy becomes a lawyer within a very short period of time. Usually that does not happen. Let me really quickly talk about my family. Usually it takes like generations for people to achieve like better education and stuff. So my grandparents, okay, we're talking like the 40s, they never graduated high school. My parents graduated high school, but that's it. Now, I went to college. I'm the first of my family to go to college. But then on my cousin's side, on my aunt's side, the generation below me, she actually has her postgraduate degree. She's working on her doctorate, but she has her master's. So I do not have my master's. I don't have my master's. So hopefully my children will not only graduate college, but then maybe go on to a post kind of graduate kind of work. Now, I know a lot of you in here are not thinking about college. That's fine, because the world is changing and you can make lots of money. And I'm not saying money is what makes you happy, because I mean, it can't in some cases, but it can give you more freedom. So earning a good salary when you're older is fairly important. I mean, what's more important is for you to be happy at that job and not hate going to work. But a little bit of extra money each month really helps, maybe travel, invest a little bit, have some good retirement. You're not quite there yet, but something to think about. All right. Boom. Hey, just to let you know, my brother did not go to college, but he owns a lawn care business and he makes way more money than I do. So if money is the most important thing, which it's not, he would be winning without. And I think maybe my sister did. She never went to college either, but she might be making more money than I do. But I got the summers off. So it's just all about what you, and I get to work with all of you. They don't get to work with you. That's what warms my heart every day, is walking in and seeing your smiling faces, or at least I think they're smiling behind the masks. Yeah, that warms my heart. Working with all of you, it's a joy. It's a joy. No, I do enjoy my job. All right, this is taking a long time for us to read this. Let's go. I will not stop anymore. How about that? I'm going to stop rambling, start reading. Less rambling, more reading. He built a 55-room luxury hotel bearing his name. A little bit of an egotist there, right? Oh, the J.B. Stratford Hotel. It was the largest Black-owned hotel in the country. Stratford believed that Black people had a better chance of economic progress if they pooled their resources. So put it all together. Put it all together. Don't keep it all for yourself. So it seems like he gave back to the community quite a bit. Greenwood became self-contained and reliant. A.J. Smitherman, publisher whose family moved to the area in the 1890s, founded the Tulsa Star, a Black newspaper based in Greenwood. We have talked about how important it is to be able to control the information. So people with newspapers, they became very powerful, especially in the 1890s. The newspaper became an important influence on the district's community mindset, so how the community thought. The newspaper regularly informed Black people about their rights and any rulings or legislation that affected them. Demands for equal rights were an ongoing mission for the Black residents of Tulsa. At the time, Jim Crow laws, we've talked plenty about that, right? They forced segregation between Black and white people. Greenwood had a railroad track running through it that separated the Black and white populations. Consequently, When I recorded this earlier, I said consequently is a great transition instead of but. Instead of but, consequently. Make you sound a little smarter if that's what you're into. Gurley and Stratford's vision of having a self-contained and self-reliant Black economy came to be not only by desire, but by logistics. If I hadn't talked so much earlier, I probably would have talked about logistics, but let's move on. As a practical matter, they had no choice as to where they'll locate their businesses, said Hannibal Johnson. Who is that? Keep reading, and they will tell you. He's the author of a book about the Greenwood District. Well, they don't tell the, I'll have to look it up. I wish they told the title of the book right there. Tulsa was rigidly segregated, and Oklahoma became increasingly racist after statehood. Greenwood Avenue was the heart of the district for Black residents. There were luxury shops, restaurants, grocery stores, hotels, movie theaters, barbershops, and saloons. There was also a library, pool halls, nightclubs, and offices for doctors, dentists. Greenwood had its own school system too, and a post office, bank, hospital, bus service. So self-contained. Sounds like you could live in Greenwood and never have to leave. Everything is right there for you. Greenwood was a home to far less wealthy Black Americans as well. A significant number still worked in low-income jobs, such as janitors, dishwashers, porters, and housekeepers. The money they earned outside of Greenwood was spent in the district. So almost done here. Time of racial violence. Wasn't long before wealthy Black people attracted the attention of local white residents. I've used this term before, jealousy. Jealousy. Oftentimes it'll be like, hey, especially for the poor white people, like, how are they getting all this? Why am I still poor? Something like, usually it is. That's the way it works. Usually. All right, more reading. They resented, another good word, jealousy, resentment, the upscale lifestyle of people they thought inferior. This discrimination is called white supremacy. It is a racist belief that white people, their ideas and their actions are superior to those who are Black, brown, indigenous, and people of color because they are white. All right, hopefully, not a joking matter. White supremacy, don't even joke about it. I think some people I've heard around here, they think, oh, that's funny. No, it's not funny. It's makes you sound extremely ignorant, makes you sound really, really stupid. I think the word jealousy is certainly appropriate during this time, says Place. She says that poor white people would look at wealthy Black people with large homes and fine furniture and think, they don't deserve that. Usually the white racists, and I've lived in the South for a long time, but I imagine somebody with that thought process would say that they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that. And I'm, my wife is Southern. I have a lot of good Southern friends, but it's not like the South has really done, a lot to promote like, hey, we're not racist anymore. I shouldn't say that. I know a lot of white people in the South that are not racist at all. But when I think of like some white supremacists, I do think of not that intelligent, probably hard for them to form complete sentences. So I'm like, all right, they don't deserve that. That sounds like a white supremacist to me. All right, back to more reading. At the time, the Ku Klux Klan, an American hate group dedicated to white supremacy, some of the worst people on earth, was gaining in popularity. Now, I hope I'm not going to get any letters from parents. Hey, Mr. Watson said that all people in the Ku Klux Klan are horrible, awful people, don't deserve to be on this earth. I hope I don't get any hate mail for that. Hopefully we can all agree on that, right? The lowest of the low, just the worst people on earth. Yeah. Luckily, those people are mostly dying off, hopefully. Black residents of Greenwood feared racial violence, the removal of their voting rights. The Oklahoma Supreme Court allowed residents designed to strip Black people of their right to vote. It was forced upon them it forced upon them a poll tax and literacy test. So I know in Mr. Bim's class you will talk a lot about this, but just to vote you would have to pass a test. These were designed to make people fail. White people did not have to take them most of the time. It was just if you were black, and designed to fail, so you couldn't vote. And if you passed, it was probably like a really hefty tax that you had to pay. Lynchings proliferated across the U.S., and anti-black riots took place in major cities across the country, including Tulsa. In response, the Tulsa Star encouraged black people to take up arms. They were told to go to courthouses and jails to make sure black people there were not taken and killed by white lynch mobs. And then we saw this happen in the video that we watched. All right, so this is going on about 16 minutes. We are not going to finish the article. It does. I mean, if we had more time, I definitely would. It doesn't get that violent, but hopefully you all know, based on what we've talked about, what we've watched, what we've read, it gets ugly. The documentary said hundreds of people who were black were killed. I've heard it was nearly 1,000, right around the number of 1,000. So awful stuff. The worst racial violence in this country. Hopefully we're moving past that. But, I just wanted to bring attention to that because it was something in high school that I never learned about. In college, when I majored in history, never heard about it. So let's stop there and move on to something hopefully a little bit more fun. Sometimes class is, you just gotta deal with the awful stuff to know where we've come from. All right, let's do it. Something else.